This is episode 71, and today we're talking about the legal implications for hairstylists and barbers. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Today we're talking about the legal issues for barbers and hairstylists. If you're a hairstylist or barber, you face a lot of legal issues, a lot of legal opportunities if you know how to use the law, and some things that potentially set you back if you don't necessarily understand how the law can benefit you. So let's talk about some of that. Let's talk about just the industry as a whole. The numbers are saying that there are more than 650,000 barbers and hairstylists in the U.S. And the hair industry is expected to grow more than 8% per year. So this is an industry that if you're interested in this industry, or you think about getting into the industry, or you are already in the industry, this is a good industry to be in, because no matter where you go, people typically want to look good. Because oftentimes, if your hair looks good, whether you're a male or a woman, or male or female, you often feel good. And hairstyles are a part of shaping a person's image and making people feel good. They bring joy to people just by doing their job. So those individuals aren't going anywhere anytime soon, because they are professionals. They know how to professionally make you look good. This is what they spend their life doing every single day. So it's important to understand those different legal strategies that we're going to talk about right now to have opportunity to maximize your success. So the first thing you want to do is, the first thing we're going to talk about is, I guess the legal issue we're going to talk about is licensing. It's recommended that you be a licensed barber or be a licensed hairstylist. That is recommended because you want to lead with professionalism. And oftentimes this is very regulated by the state. This is very state-specific regulation. For example, it has many different names. It can be the Department of Licensing. That's the department you license. You may have to go through. It can be the Board of Cosmetology. They go by many different names, but it's important to understand what state I'm in and what's the name of the entity that is regulating this type of hair and this hair industry. You may have to spend a year or 2 years going to school. You may have to work at a hair salon performing different things, or whatever it may be. Figure out what it is, and you and become registered, become licensed and legal in that state as a licensed professional. And then some of the things you also want to understand is that when you are performing these type of hairstyles on different individuals, this is something that's something that benefits different barbers and hairstylists, is that this is a contract that they're entering the contract with you. For example, if you cut a person's hair and they don't pay you, they enter the contract. I mean, you don't necessarily have to discuss money in order for a contract to be in place, because you offered, by sitting in that chair, it's implied in fact. This is a contract that's implied in fact. I'm offering a service to cut your hair, and you accepting that offer, and I'm doing it for money, so that's a contract. So when they don't pay you, you can potentially sue that person in maybe a small claims court, and maybe even call the police for theft of services. You can sue that person for breach of contract, theft of services, and many other things. Like, these are legally binding things, what they call unilateral contracts. That doesn't necessarily be written down, but the idea is that if I perform a service for you, you're going to pay me money, and that's what you are doing, performing a service with these individuals. So that's a very important distinction to understand, that when you are doing these services, this is a legally binding contract, and you have rights as a hairstylist, as a barber, that individuals, you may do something, whatever it may be, and they say, I don't like how you did it, they don't want to pay you. Yeah, you have to pay me. You have to pay me as a hairstylist. So that's important. And if you are working at like a hair studio or type of barber studio, most typically, from what I've seen, is that most individuals are paid primarily two ways. They're either paid on commission, or they're paid primarily through they pay like a monthly booth rental fee. So it's a monthly booth rental fee, or they're paid by commission. And they both have their pros and cons, but it's important to understand that it just depends on your situation, your outlook on life, how you want to go about it. I recommend individuals to try to get on a monthly booth rental fee. And the reason I say that, because you can now take advantage of those legal opportunities, those legal benefits that we talked about earlier, that you can maximize that. Because if you're doing a monthly booth rental fee to the actual building owner, or to whoever you're paying it to, you as the barber, as a hair salonist, you can now organize yourself as a business. You can create you an LLC. You can create you an EIN number. And now once you do that, you can take advantage of the numerous benefits, tax benefits out there for entrepreneurs. For example, you can deduct everything you pretty much buy for your business. You can deduct the cost of the tissue, the cost of the hair dye, the cost of the alcohol, the cost of buying clippers. All of those things can be deducted on your taxes through what they call the Schedule C. That's important. It's a Schedule C, and you'll file your tax form 1040, but you're also attached to Schedule C. This is if you're a single proprietor or a single member LLC. More than likely, if you're paying booth rental fee, you'll be the only owner of that LLC, so you'll be filing your Schedule C. And on that Schedule C, it lists everything, all your expenses that you're paying out can be deducted, because the tax code, the IRS, the government knows it takes money to make money. So you have to sharpen your craft. You have to buy these different goods, buy these different products. If you're selling products, you have to buy those products and things such as that. So that helps a lot. And you can deduct those on your taxes. So that's very important to understand. It's important. But commission, it has its benefits, but if you can be a booth rental fee agreement, I would consider looking into that. And that booth rental fee agreement, and that booth rental is, again, it's a contract. It's a booth rental fee that you have with the salon owner. For example, you will pay X amount of dollars per month. And it's important to understand that. It's important to understand that how you can look at that for your own. And just as a whole, I mean, if the person who controls the salon, if they're paying a monthly rent to the building owners, a lot of times salon owners or people that run in the salon or run in the barbershop, they don't necessarily own the building. And that's another lease, that's another contract. And some of the things I would recommend individuals look out for is a grace period. That's very important, because all the time if you don't pay within a certain maybe 3 days or 5 days, they can charge you a late fee. So when you can negotiate, enter into these lease agreements, negotiate having a later grace fee. Like maybe instead of being three days, you can have it maybe being 10 days. Because when you're in the hairstyling business, particularly if you own it, you're probably dependent on people to pay you those booth rental fees. And if they don't pay you on time, now you can't pay the person on time. So having that extended grace period, or maybe having it, maybe you don't have to pay a late fee the first time you're late, those things can be beneficial to individuals who are entering this business and who want to actually potentially one day control, own their own hair salon. Because individuals are always going to want to come to a physical place. I can't do your hair online or virtual. We have to be in the same place together. So, I mean, that industry is only going to get bigger. It's only going to boom. You know. Also, liability insurance. I would highly recommend individuals have liability insurance. And oftentimes, according to state regulation, in order to have a place, you got to have some type of liability insurance. But even if you are just renting a booth, it's important to have liability insurance because say, for example, a person doesn't pay you, or say, for example, you cut a person or something bad, we burn their hair, and you get some type of something bad just happens, where they get some type of burn, they may sue you, and you can have liability insurance that'll cover you. So you can say, okay, I don't have to worry about this because I got liability insurance. Yes, it was a mistake, but I have insurance that'll cover me. So that's very important for barbers and hairstylists to get liability insurance. Not necessarily, but even if you're just renting a regular booth, it's important to get liability insurance. Definitely if you have your own entire business. And also, if you own this entire business, liability insurance protects you from accidents on the property. A lot of times, it's children running around and all this and all that. People fighting and things such as that. And if a fight happens on your property and someone get hurt, they're going to sue you. Because the lawyer going to tell them to sue everyone. And they're definitely going to say sue the building owner, because the building owner typically have more money than just a regular person who's just a customer or a barber or a hair salon. So that's important. The business insurance is very important. And you also hear about some of the ways to maximize profit for hair salons. One way, when I've talked to different people that own their businesses, they talk about products, making products, having your own products, ordering products. You can sell products to your customers. For example, if you use a certain type of gel, type of alcohol, whatever you're using, you can sell that to your customer. For example, if you're a barber and you have some type of I don't even know, some type of grease or some type of thing, some type of shampoo you use on the hair, you say, I just using your hair, I think this is good for you. I also have it for sale as well, so you can have it. And then you can come back as amount of time, and then we can continue using that and get you on a path, making sure your scalp and your skin is looking right. And those are some of the things you can sell. And products typically have a higher profit margin. It doesn't require any labor. Like in order to cut a hair, you got to actually do it yourself. Or style hair, you have to do it yourself. A product is just sitting on the shelf, and you can sell itself and have a higher profit margin than without. Also, you can sell potentially t-shirts or things such as that. I mean, there's many things you can do to get creative, and there's many things with running a hair salon. Also, I often talk about it that digital marketing is a very important skill to learn. I mean, the concept of just targeting people in that zip code where you're working or in that city that you're working in is very important. I mean, you can create a landing page, get information, and retarget them. You can allow individuals to go to your website, see your type of hair, or your Instagram, or whatever it may be. That's very important. Oftentimes individuals have mastered the free marketing through the Instagram and things like that, but consider paid marketing, because you can target individuals as your ideal customer and put your ad directly in front of them. And the government, you can write that off on your taxes, and the government understands that it takes money to make money. So that's one thing to look at as well. And also think about global. One book I would highly recommend is called The E-Myth. It's the entrepreneurial myth. I think that's a really good book, because it often talk about is that it's important to work on your business, not necessarily in your business. So let me say that again. The E-Myth talks about it's important to understand the concept of working on your business, not necessarily in your business. And oftentimes you're a good barber, you're a good hair salonist, you've mastered the craft, but have you mastered the business concepts and business metrics to actually understand how can I use the legal system, the tax system, the financial rules and regulations to actually expand? And there's a lot of opportunity in that. I mean, the idea of just filing your taxes every single year, that gives you tax benefits. Now you can take your tax return to a bank, and they give you a line of credit. Just filing your tax returns, you can buy things on credit. You can, I mean, it gives you a cushion that if you don't necessarily have the money, you can use that. I mean, there's a lot of benefits to just doing it the right way that individuals should understand. But that's pretty much all I have to talk about. We talk about a lot of legal issues. We talk about the different contracts. Another thing I want to talk about, I guess, with the commissions is that in your commission, your employment agreement, if you're hiring someone on commission, you can potentially have a no compete clause, and that's very important because oftentimes when you're a person working on commission, you're bringing all the customers into your store, into your salon, and you're assigning them to this person and that person and that person. That person isn't a part of business development. You're giving them all their clients. But if this person gets good enough and has enough following, they can just leave and take all your clients with them. But the only way you can do that is to have a non-compete clause, potentially within a certain geographical region. It could be like a mile or 2 miles or whatever it may be for a certain year or 2 years, whatever. So they can't compete and take your clients with them, because that's important. Now, some states don't allow that. So it's important to check your state to see if you can put a non-compete clause. But I would highly recommend having a non-compete clause, because particularly if you just took a person right out of beauty school and you pretty much taught them the whole entire business and taught them how to, you've done trainings and taught them all of these things, and now all of a sudden they can just sit up next door to you and compete with you. No, that's you shouldn't necessarily allow that if you can avoid that. But I do understand that, and also we could talk about just on the importance of maybe should you own a property versus renting it, and they both have their pros and cons. I mean, if you own a building, it gives you tax deduction. You can deduct the interest off on your mortgage. You can deduct expenses. You can deduct there's many deductions you can have by just owning a building. There's so many deductions you can have. But it's also important to understand the benefits of renting, because oftentimes your clients may be located in this area, and this area is the hot area. But areas in different cities, regions, and parts of different cities change. So this part of the city may become the hot area. But if you own a building here, you may just stay here. But if you're renting, once your lease ends, you can just move here. So instead of having your clients travel potentially 45 minutes, they could just walk to your place, so they can drive 5 or 10 minutes. So that's important to understand. But we talk about a lot of legal issues in this thing, and I hope you all have enjoyed it. This has been one of my lengthier videos, but we talked about a lot. We talked about just the licensing with the different governing bodies in your particular state, LLC, the EIN number, tax ID number, the Schedule C, the tax form that the IRS requires you to legally file. We talked about a lot. We talked about different non-compete clauses in different contracts, the grace periods and things such as that. But that's pretty much all I have, and hope you all have enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, you can deduct lawyer fees off on your taxes as well. So if you want to talk to a lawyer, you can hire me and you deduct your fees off on your taxes. But that's all I really want to talk about, and we're one step closer to 1,000 episodes. Thanks.